Hi, and welcome to the channel. My name is Laura. This is Kuhn, Kraft, Yoga, and Design. Today's practice is a practice for those who are working on neck health and experiencing neck pain. Above all, today, I want to remind you if you are experiencing chronic neck pain and if you have been dealing with this for a long time, you will want to consider seeing your doctor or a physical therapist to help guide you along your journey to improving your neck health. As someone who's experienced chronic neck and shoulder pain for, I would say, the almost better part of 2 decades, I have finally broken through the cycle for myself and now have built in enough strength within my upper body and shoulders to have a much more stable neck and to very rarely now experience neck pain. So I am in a much better place. And I hope that if you are experiencing those injuries or those feelings yourself, that you can make your way to finding a better place as well. As always, we want to stay within our range. And for me, I knew that building strength into my upper body and neck would help me feel better, but I kept working maybe 5 or 10 steps ahead of where I should be. So I kept moving back into the pain cycle and kept getting tighter and tighter into the neck and the shoulders, and just was in this vicious cycle of not really building much strength and just being in pain a lot of time. That is my experience. Of course, your experience could be something much, much different. Today's practice, we're going to have some stretches, some strength building exercises, and we're also going to move through a short flow where I'm going to offer modifications. So if you find yourself in a yoga class, you will be able to use some of these modifications or just gentle reminders so that you can check in with yourself and make sure that you're not causing any extra tension into the neck and shoulders as you practice. So we're going to get started seated on our mats. When you're ready, just make your way right into the center of your mat. Go ahead and take a comfortable cross-legged seat or even sit up onto a pillow. We're going to start just by warming up the neck very gently with some head nods. So you're going to slowly drop the chin towards the chest. Think about creating length in the back of the neck. So you're really reaching forward with the crown. Not so much trying to scrunch the chin towards the chest, but create length in the back of the neck. I can already feel a nice stretch into the upper traps. And then slowly we're going to reverse that and start to tilt the head back. Sometimes the weight of the head can get to be quite a bit here, so you don't need to drop the head all the way back. This time think about creating length across the front of the throat. Lifting up, continue to breathe as you do these stretches. And then we're going to slowly come forward. As you move forward, think about the shoulders and the arms staying heavy and in place. We're just moving the neck, starting to warm up the neck. Also an excellent move to take at your desk and just to kind of take a time out from your computer. Naturally, when we sit at the computer and we start to type, our shoulders hike up. They come closer to our ears, and we get a little bit more tight. We'll go ahead and take a couple more of these head nods. And when you're ready, return back to center, coming back into neutral. From here, we're going to take a stretch. So we're going to take the left hand, going to kind of pick up that left glute and sit onto the left hand. So we're just kind of gluing the left arm in place here. So you should still feel fairly comfortable, and also try to feel even on the sit bones so we're not leaning too far to the right. From here, we're going to just drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. And you can have the right hand just fingertips touching the mat. Just allow the weight of the head to feel heavy. Gaining a nice stretch along the left side of the neck. Inhale, come back up to neutral. Don't force the stretch. Allow your breath to move yourself deeper into the stretch. From here, we're going to drop the right ear towards the right shoulder once more. You can stay right here, letting gravity do its work, or if you'd like, you can take the right hand and just set it on the side of the left forehead and use just the weight alone of the hand. We're not really forcing the head down, just using the weight of the hand to let the head draw a little bit more deeply. Still sitting nice and tall in the spine and allowing the breath to travel in and out. Keeping the body relaxed with the breath is key. Slowly come out. We're going to take that move one more time, but we're going to vary the angle on the head and the chin so that you're going to feel it, instead of on the side, you're going to feel it more into the back of the upper traps and maybe even into the rhomboids. So from here, we're going to turn the chin kind of at a diagonal facing that right knee. And then we're just going to allow, again, the head to drop down, create length in the back of the neck as the chin starts to lower. As you breathe, allow the muscles in the face to soften. Allow the tongue to feel loose in the mouth. Inhale, come back up to neutral. Allow the neck to rest for a moment. We're going to take that same movement again. You can either do it just like we did, or if you want, as we did in the previous exercise, you can also take the hand to the back of the head. So from here, we're going to turn the chin towards the right knee. Allow the head to start to drop, either staying right here, or you can take the right hand and bring it just to the back of the head for a little extra pressure, using the weight of the arm and gravity to give yourself a little more deeper stretch. Allowing yourself to soften into the pose. And let's inhale back up, slowly return to center. You can go ahead and lift up off of that left hand. From here, we're going to go over to the opposite side. So we're going to place the right hand underneath that right tush, secure it down, feel comfortable from where you're at. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and start to lean that left ear over towards the left shoulder. Probably have one side that's a little more tightly wound than the other. We're not trying to actually touch the left ear to the shoulder. Think more about creating length along the right shoulder to the right ear. Let's inhale, come back up to neutral. Take a moment. And then we're going to exhale this time, the left ear to the left shoulder again, staying right here if you like this. Or you can take the left hand and bring it along the right side of the forehead. Allowing the hand just to rest without pulling onto the head or the neck. Staying lifted in the chest, so we're not curling the chest or the spine forward. We're still seated up nice and tall. And if this is too much at any time, of course, release the hand or come back to neutral. And when you're ready, we will all do that right now, coming back to neutral. And we're going to take those moves at a diagonal again to get more into the back of the neck and also into the traps. So we're going to start to lean or move the chin towards the left side, towards the left knee. And from here, let's think about keeping the back of the neck nice and long, almost like we're reaching the crown of the head towards that left diagonal. And as we do so, the chin will start to lower. We don't need to force the chin down to the chest. And on an inhale, we'll come back up. Let's go ahead and straighten the neck out, come back to neutral, and take a pause before we come to the next movement. When you're ready, again, turn towards the left. Start to tilt the chin down, reaching forward with the crown of the head, but still staying nice and tall within the spine. So we're just moving the head and the neck. You can stay here, or you can take the left hand to the back of the head for a little extra weight and some traction onto the neck. Maybe finding some new spots that you didn't know existed. Some new areas that you're like, oh yes, we could use some love today too. And when you're ready, very slowly and with care, start to come back up and return to neutral. Release the right hand from underneath the glute. Very good. Some nice stretches to start. And for the next move, I'm going to just move to the side so you have a better angle to view this. And this is a strength building exercise for the neck, an isometric exercise. So what that means is that the neck itself is not really going to change. The muscles are not going to change in length. We are going to build up strength within the neck muscles, those very small supporting muscles that often start to get weaker as the bigger muscles get messages thinking that they should take over. So staying comfortable again in your seat. From here, we're going to sit up nice and tall. The chin is slightly tucked. Feel like the crown of the head is the very flattest part of the head is parallel with the ceiling. Drawing that chin in slightly. From here, you're going to take either your right or your left hand, whichever is most comfortable, and place it right up against your forehead. So firmly but not too firm, touching the forehead. And from here, you are going to start to shift and push the forehead into your palm. And you can see, if you're watching the video right now, you can see that my head and neck are not moving at all, but yet I am really pressing into that right hand. And then release the pressure. So you're going to press into the hand for about 5 seconds and then release. Let's go ahead and press for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. We'll do that 2 more times. Press for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Last time, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Very good. You can continue to do as many of those as you feel comfortable. As always with any neck exercises, make sure you don't overdo it. I know we can always want to get strong fast, but sometimes it's very important, actually all times, it's very important to let our body rest in between exercises. So we're going to take another exercise that is very similar to that by staying right where we're at, chin slightly tucked. This time we're going to take the hands and interlace the fingers behind the head. From here, instead of pushing the head forward, we're going to push the head back into the hands. And we're going to all do that again for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. If you need to shake your arms out and give your shoulders a rest, by all means do so. When you're ready, we're going to go once more for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then let's release. Take a moment. Last time, pressing the head into the hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Relax the head and the neck. From here, we're going to allow the elbows to curl in around the ears. Again, think about creating length into the back of the neck as you allow the head and the neck to round. And start to curl in on yourself. Rounding the shoulders, spreading them wide across the back. Using the weight of the hands and the arms once more to create traction. And a nice, gentle Pull onto the back of the neck and into the muscles. Continue to breathe, riding the breath like a wave, allowing the breath to massage the upper back and the shoulders. And when you're ready, on the next inhale, we're going to come back up. Open up the elbows, release the fingers, and the hands can come back down to the lap. From here, we're going to shift around. We're going to come up through tabletop, tuck the toes, and we're going to shift back so that we come into a halfway lift. So the feet are separated about hip width distance apart. And from here, we're actually just going to take a forward fold. So bend the knees deeply. This could be your very first forward fold of the day. Allow the head, neck, and the shoulders to drop. The hands can just rest on the mat in front of you for now. Check in with the head and the neck. Maybe give the neck a little wiggle, shaking the head back and forth as if you were saying no. And fully release down. I know personally I have a tendency to always want to look up in my forward fold because it's like I want to see what's going on. Assure yourself that there is nothing to see. You can allow the head just to be happy and free. From this position, again, we're going to interlace the fingers and bring them to the back of the head. Curling the elbows alongside the ears. Using the weight of the hands to maybe draw the head down towards the mat a little more. Not so much focused on the hamstrings and the back of the legs. That's why I encourage you to keep the knees deeply bent, because we're really more concerned about keeping the back and the shoulders and the neck loose. If you're gifted with wonderfully long hamstrings, you may feel more comfortable in a straight knee. And then from here in this forward fold, we're going to start just a gentle bounce. So allow the torso just to slightly bob on top of the thighs. Adding in some movement. As you do so, maybe feel like the head and the neck start to unwind. And from your forward fold, we're going to release the interlacing of the hands, bring the hands down onto the mat, and we're going to come up into a halfway lift. In your halfway lift, again, you should be very straight from the crown of the head to the tailbone, so the gaze is directly down. And we're going to crawl the hands forward and start to shift the knees down onto the mat through tabletop. For tabletop, again, we're just going to check the gaze, being mindful of the neck in all of these postures, noticing that we should have a straight line from the head all the way to the tailbone. I think there is a tendency in all of us to always want to look up and see what the teacher is doing. So then we get this bend into the back of the neck where all the skin is wrinkling, and then we're trying to look up. If you have neck issues, we want to avoid this, and it can take a lot of concentration to try to keep the head and the neck facing downward and keeping this straight line. So I'm going to make that your challenge today, to try to keep the back of the neck from wrinkling. When you're ready from your tabletop position, we're going to tuck the toes and we're going to push back into downward facing dog. We're going to start this short flow today just as we kind of talk about some things or options that you can have in your practice to help maintain that integrity into the neck. When you're ready, we're going to step the right foot forward. Bring the right foot in between the hands. Maybe step the left foot back slightly so that you can have the stride that feels comfortable for you in your legs. From here in this runner's lunge, we're going to go ahead and spin the left toes so that the left heel connects with the mat, and then go ahead and rainbow the arms up. We come into warrior two. so the torso is upright. And in Warrior Two, our arms are usually extended out straight from the shoulders. You have this beautiful arrow-like position in the arms. Now, if you're struggling with neck and shoulder issues, this is a lot of weight held out, extended in front of you. So your option is to just lower the arms to whatever depth feels good to you. I'm still active in my arms, reaching through the fingertips, but now just the shape has changed. You can still create integrity and build strength into the upper body, even by having the arms lowered just slightly. That's your Warrior Two. From Warrior Two, we're going to shift down and come into extended side angle. You can have your hand on a block, or you can have your hand all the way down to the floor. Extended side angle for you, if you have neck issues, keep your gaze neutral and just look to the side as I'm looking at the camera right here. Having the arm lifted straight up can be useful to you, but it can still be a lot on the shoulder. You can also have the arm on the hip or the hand on the hip and stay here in your extended side angle. Still staying strong in the core and also active within the quad and in that back leg. Staying active in those areas, but changing the arm position does not take anything out of the pose. You're still working a lot into the legs. Often having extended side angle with the arm overhead and the neck turned is a lot for those of us who have neck issues. So from our extended side angle, we're going to straighten that right leg. Coming into triangle, shortening the stance slightly for me. I like to have my feet brought in a little bit more closely. Again, hand on the hip, rotating the chest up. You can have the gaze up if that doesn't bother your neck, but you can still stay open in the chest and have the gaze off to the side. From our triangle, you can go ahead and reverse it, come back into that extended side angle. My gaze is still off to the side. From our side angle, we're going to lift up into Warrior Two. Warrior Two, arms either out straight or relaxing the shoulders down and having the arms lowered, reaching with the fingertips. From Warrior Two, let's rainbow the arms back to the outside of that right foot. Step the right foot back, coming into plank. Plank pose is also a great posture to strengthen into the upper body and to the neck, but I remind you to keep the gaze down and keep the back of the neck nice and smooth and long. Lowering into chaturanga is often where we get into troubles because we need to have that upper body strength to lower down with control. So if you're trying to build up strength, I suggest first lowering onto your knees. And to come into your version of chaturanga, start to bend the elbows. Shift the whole upper body forward. Gaze stays down as you lower all the way onto the mat. Untuck the toes. And from here, we're going to build into some upper body strength. So the hands are just slightly in front of the shoulders. And you're going to inhale, lift up. You can have the hands down on the mat, coming into a baby cobra. Still long into the neck. I'm not looking up towards the ceiling and scrunching into the back of the neck. Looking down at the mat, lower down, and release. From here, let's lift up once more. If you feel like you want to go for the challenge, you can start to lift the hands up off of the mat. You may not be as lifted up in the upper body, but that's fine. Let's lower down. One more. Lift. Pause for the hold. And then lower down. Wonderful. From here, we'll shift the hands back slightly. Pressing into the mat. Start to bend at the knees, tuck the toes, and then we're going to go ahead and push back into our downward facing dog. Taking that onto the other side, again, moving mindfully and slowly as we consider what shape works best for us and into our neck and upper body. We'll step the left foot forward, coming in between the hands for runner's lunge. Staying lifted in the chest so that we're not collapsing onto that left thigh, but staying long from the crown to the tail. From here, we're going to windmill the arms up into our warrior two. Finding our warrior two, we may want to have the arms lowered just slightly. But as we do the pose, we're going to have the torso nice and straight, so we're not leaning, and we're still very active in the arms. So you might even feel a lengthening along the side of the neck. From your warrior two, we're going to shift into our side angle posture. So the left hand can come down to the mat. The right arm can come up either nice and straight with the gaze neutral, and I'm just looking over to the right side wall. If that's too much on your arm, you can have the right hand at the hip. Continue to keep the chest open. Stay here for a moment and breathe. When you're ready, we're going to straighten that left leg, coming into triangle pose. But if you need to shorten your stance, go ahead and draw that right foot back in an inch or two, and then start to revolve the chest open once more. Hand either stays on the hip or comes straight up. Having the arm at an angle creates more weight and more tension into the shoulder and into the neck. Find the shape that works for you. Stay open in the chest and breathe. When you're ready, we're going to lower back down, come out from where we came, coming into our side angle, lifting up into our warrior two. Windmilling the arms to the outside of that left foot, back into your lunge, and then stepping that left foot back, coming into our plank. Gaze is down, the back of the neck is nice and long. Taking our chaturanga, lower the knees first, shift the torso forward, drive the elbows in towards the ribs as you lower down. Untuck the toes, come onto your belly. So we come into our baby cobra, hands in front of the shoulders, and we'll take those lifts again, either keeping the hands on the mat, or if you want to take a little more challenge, you can lift as we come up. If you lift the hands up off of the mat, just know that you may not come up as far as if your hands were lowered down. Last one, we'll lift. And then lower. From here, the hands will come directly underneath the shoulders. Start to bend the knees, come through tabletop, tuck the toes, and push back into your downward facing dog. Allow the head of the neck to feel heavy here. Push into the mat with your hands. Allow the shoulders to spread wide across the mat. Inhale. And exhale, let's lower the knees down. Again, coming into some simple movement for the head, neck, and the shoulders. We're going to take a revolved tabletop or thread the needle pose. From here, let's inhale the right arm up. And if this is as far as you can go, stay right here. We want to be rotating with the chest, reaching with that right arm to open the shoulder. But if you're trying to use your neck to create that rotation, you're not really doing a whole lot of good. We want to use the chest and the upper body. When you're ready, we're going to wind that right shoulder underneath the left. Maybe touch the right cheek to the mat. And then on an inhale, we're going to come back up and take a twist. Exhale, lower. Thread the needle. Inhale up. It's amazing how much rotation in the spine that we are capable of and how easily it is to lose it. On the last one, we'll inhale back up and then lower that right hand down towards the mat. We'll take that over to the other side. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale down. Left cheek comes to reach the mat. Inhale up as far as you can go. And then exhale, twist. Inhale it back up. Exhale, twist. Last time, inhaling it up. And let's release that left hand down towards the mat. From your tabletop, we're going to come into a cow face pose. We're going to go ahead and take the right knee, bring it more towards the midline of the mat, and then cross the left knee over that right shin. So the legs are crossed. Open the feet up wide, and we're going to start to shift the hips back to sit either onto the mat or onto a block. So we'll also get a benefit of a hip stretch in this posture. From here, you may want to strap, especially if you already have very tight shoulders, which are causing your neck pain, because the strap will allow you to reach. If you don't have a strap, you're trying to either hold on to the fingertips, which could be out of reach, or maybe your bra strap could be a help as well, depending on what you're wearing. But I suggest having a yoga strap near you or a scarf. From here, we're going to take the left arm, bring it up so that the palm of the left hand comes between the shoulder blades. From here, the right arm will come behind so that the back of the right hand also comes between the shoulder blades. And maybe you can start to work the hands a little more closely using a strap, a scarf, or your fingertips. This is definitely my tighter side. I have had shoulder surgery, and it just always tends to be more tight on this side. Wherever you're at in this cow face pose, try to stay as tall as you can in the spine. So we're not allowing that left elbow to force the head to hinge forward. Keep breathing. This is a really deep stretch in several spots at one time. The shoulders, the hips, the outside of those hip flexors. Your knees are getting a stretch. Very good. When you're ready, release the arms slowly, maybe give them a little shake. Keep the left foot where it is, and then start to lift the right foot so that the sole of the foot comes to the floor. We're going to take a little twist before we move on. So you can take the right hand just behind the right glute, lift the left arm up, and then just wrap that left elbow around the right knee as you twist towards the right. Give your right knee a little hug. And in my twists, I like to think less about trying to force the gaze behind me and more about reaching the chest and the right shoulder towards the back of the room. When you're ready, we can inhale, unwind. Go ahead and release the cross of the legs. We're just going to cross the ankles and roll forward back into tabletop. From tabletop, this time we're going to move the left knee towards the midline of the mat and then cross the right knee up and over that left shin. Open the legs or the feet out wide so you make some space for the hips to come back and settle in between the heels. As always, your knee can be lifted higher in your cow face pose, depending on where you're at. You could sit up on a block or a blanket, makes it a little bit more easier for you. And grab your strap or your scarf. This time we're going to have the right arm come up so that the palm of the right hand comes in between the shoulder blades. Staying nice and tall in the torso, and then draw the left hand behind you so the back of the left hand meets the right hand in between the shoulder blades. Again, using that strap to try to bring the hands more closely together or trying to get a hold of the fingertips. Pausing here in our Gomukhasana arms and legs. Maybe giving ourselves a little smile as you feel some heat and some warmth moving into the neck as we've done our practice today. Slowly start to release the arms. keep the right shin and foot where it's at. We're going to move the left leg so that the left sole of the foot comes flat on the mat. Left hand comes behind you. We'll inhale the right arm up and then go ahead and start to wrap around that left knee. Give yourself a squeeze. As we exhale, twist and start to twist towards the left. And when you're ready, we're going to release. Unwind the twist and go ahead and unwind the legs. I'm going to recenter myself onto my mat, and we can all start to slowly lower down onto our backs. We're going to end out the practice in bridge pose. So softly lower yourself down, adjust your heels, and draw them in a little bit more closely to the glutes. You should have virtually a straight line from your knees down to your ankles, which often you cannot judge since you are lying down on your mat. But depending on how long your arms are, maybe the heels are just out of reach of the fingertips. You probably have about 2 or 3 inches from the fingertips. If you have really long arms, you might be reaching the heels. Sometimes it's great to have a video of yourself to see exactly how your alignment looks. Once you feel comfortable and stable in this posture and you feel like you have the ankles underneath the knees, we're going to start to roll up. Peel the tailbone up off of the mat. The upper shoulders and the back of the head are still connected. Notice how I'm still freely talking in this bridge pose. So I have a nice space at the front of my throat. The back of the neck is still long. We can go ahead and continue on our bridge pose journey and start to interlace the fingers and walk the shoulders even more closely together underneath us. So now the scapula, the shoulder blades are pinching together. And I don't mean that as it's a sharp pain. I mean that they're squeezing together underneath us, almost like you're trying to squeeze a pencil in between your shoulder blades under the mat. At the same time, the fingers are interlaced and we're pressing the hands down into the mat as we rebound and lift the hips up in our bridge pose. As we're lifting the hips up, instead of thinking about squeezing the glutes, I want you to think about pushing the knees forward towards the front of the mat. And you're going to get this driving action in your heels, almost like you're trying to pull the heels towards the head. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's first start by releasing the hands, separate the shoulders, and then allow the spine to slowly return to the mat. From our bridge pose, you can go into your full Shavasana by extending the legs out long, or if you would like to take constructive rest by opening the feet up wide to the edges of the mat and allowing the knees to fall inward, you can stay right here as well. Whichever posture you're in, the hands can come to rest on the belly. We'll close out the practice in this last minute or two by reconnecting with our breath and allowing ourselves to tune into the sensations of our body. Know that the time that you spend to strengthen your neck and your shoulders is very important. And if you have seen physicians or physical therapists, many times they preach to slow down and to not to go too big too fast. And that is so very, very true. But it's very hard to do. So we want to get better and to heal and to feel better and to be stronger right now. Notice your body will talk to you and tell you that it needs time to slow down and that you can affect much better changes over time and with the proper care. When you're ready, you can start to release from your Shavasana, either slowly rolling up in a ball or coming onto your side, returning to the center of your mat into a cross-legged seat. And we'll end our practice by taking an inhale by drawing the arms up and the hands down through heart center with a small tuck of the chin. Thankful for ourselves and for everyone that has shown up for our practice today. As always, I hope you have a great day. Make it a good one. And don't forget to hit subscribe to the channel so that you get new practices every single Sunday. Take care. Bye.